in the position that the 76ers are in, they're going to sit on this, even if he doesn't show up for the first 10, 15 games of the season. We already know that James Harden, when he's not showing up to practices, he's eating, he's getting fat, and he's drinking. That means when he does decide to come back, if they decide, Daryl Morey decides that he's not trading him, he's going to be out of shape. He's not going to be the same James Harden. And James Harden's getting older. He's 34. He's not getting any younger, and you can see his numbers dipping. He's not the same dominant force that he was with the Rockets and even the early years with the OKC Thunder. And we all know what he did with the Brooklyn Nets. And this is the problem with the NBA. The players run the league. If James Harden decides that he does not want to show up to practices, he doesn't care. What is he losing here? He's still getting paid. It's guaranteed. Right now, he's going to force his way out of Philadelphia. He did that with the Nets. He did that with the Rockets. He even did that with OKC, even though he wanted to go back and play with Russell Westbrook and Kevin Durant. But they didn't want him. They wanted Serge Ibaka. This has been going on in the NBA forever, for the last 10 years. And it all started with LeBron James, when he decided to part ways with the Cavaliers to go and play with his two buddies, Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh. Now you see it. He forced his way out of Brooklyn because he didn't want to play with Kyrie Irving, and he had some problems with Kevin Durant. That was one of his best friends. He also played with one of his other best friends with the Rockets and Russell Westbrook. Did that work? He was close with Chris Paul, too. Did that work? Now he's playing with one of the best big men in the league. And we all know what he has said about James Harden. If he's a me player, I don't want to play with him. Is James Harden worth trading for? If you know he's had problems with the 76ers, you know he's had problems with the Brooklyn Nets, and you know he's had problems with the Houston Rockets. You're going to bring a cancer to your team that could hurt the chemistry of your team. Why would that work for the Clippers? Already they have a coach that I don't trust and two players that can't stay healthy, and Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. So you're bringing in another guy over the last couple of years, can't stay on the court. The guy's a crybaby. He is not a top 20 player in the league. He shoots the ball too much and he ruins teams. If James Harden gets traded or he parts ways with this team and decides not to come back this year until he gets traded, what is it going to say to Joel Embiid? Is he going to win with this team? And if I was Joel Embiid, I want out too. He doesn't have a no-trade clause like Bradley Beal, so he could be traded wherever they want to trade him. Because the players run the league, if he gets traded to a team, he could say, I don't want to play for that team. So it has to work for both teams before they make that trade. With the NBA, you don't have to have a no-trade clause, but every single player has a no-trade clause. Because if they don't want to go there, they don't have to play for that team. And they will sit out for the rest of the season. As we heard Damian Lillard say, he only wanted to play for two teams. And then all of a sudden, the Bucks snuck right under. And now you hear the Heat crying, complaining about it. Pat Riley's complained about it. Jimmy Butler's complained about it because he goes to the Bucks, and everybody was surprised that he decided to go play with Giannis. Everybody thought that he was heading to Miami. He only has 1 year left on that contract. So after this year, Giannis could be on his way out with the Milwaukee Bucks because he could opt out of that contract. And so is Damian Lillard. He could still go play for the Heat. And who wins on that? I think Miami will look to trade for somebody at the trade deadline this year. They're still a steady team. They're going to be one of the better teams. They're a top 4 team in the Eastern Conference. They still have Jimmy Butler. He's one of the better playoff players. He's one of the best two-way players in the league. As long as he's healthy on that roster, they have a chance to win. And they have guys that can help them win. And they're very well coached. Spoelstra is the best coach in the NBA. The problem right now lies to where these players believe they are. They believe they're bigger than the team. They believe they're bigger than the owner. They believe that they have control. I do not believe Pat Riley will bring in James Harden. He will ruin that team. He will absolutely affect the growth of even some of the youngsters that are part of that organization. Philadelphia, it's hurt the growth of Maxey. Philadelphia has some good young players, but we wouldn't know that because you have ball hogs like James Harden on that court. And Embiid, I'm sure, is not a big fan of James Harden. Most people aren't. His own friends in the league can't stand him. So what does that tell you about him? He should hang out with the Kardashians because they're nothing but jinxes. And right now, James Harden and Kyrie Irving, wherever they go, they're jinxes. And that's why they never got along, because both players think that they're bigger than the team. That has been the problem with Ben Simmons. It's all about the players now. The jersey, it's the name on the back. It's not about the name on the front of the jerseys. It's not been that way since the 90s.